What's going on, guys? Happy Friday. We have some economic data to look at. We have non-farm payrolls, huge increase from what was expected. I also want to look at Bitcoin's chart. We also have James Howells, the guy that lost a ton of Bitcoin in a landfill. He has a plan to make some of that money back. At some point in the cycle, this is going to be $1 billion. That is going to enrage him even more. Imagine having all this Bitcoin somewhere lost in a landfill and you keep seeing Bitcoin going up. Every time Bitcoin's green, his heart sinks a little more. Now let's look at this job data. Non-farm payrolls increased 256,000 jobs in December. Unemployment rate drops to 4.1% from 4.2%. Fewer losers of permanent jobs. Average hourly earnings also rise 0.3%, which is up 3.9% year on year. Now it says here the upbeat report also supported the U.S. bank's cautious stance towards further monetary policy easing this year amid mounting fears that pledges by Donald Trump could impose or massively raise tariffs, deport millions of undocumented immigrants that could stoke inflation. And according to the guy that wrote this, these worries were evidence in minutes of the Fed's December 17 to 18 policy. Noted most participants remarked that the committee could take a careful approach in considering further cuts. Now, the reason the committee is taking a careful approach to further cuts is because inflation data has recently ticked up. We have Thomas Ryan here, North America economist at Capital Economics, that's a tongue twister, saying the odds have increased that the Fed is close to being finished with its loosening cycle, particularly if the incoming Trump administration pushes ahead with a stagflationary mix of tariffs and immigration curbs. Now, in my opinion, this guy just simply doesn't like Donald Trump, and I'm not saying I like or dislike him, that's not my job here. In the end, we are in a rate-cutting cycle. Trump isn't going to change that. What could change that is inflation coming higher, is jobs continuing to be strong. Now, the Fed members know that Trump is coming. Here's the Fed's dot plot. This is where the Fed members expect rates to go. Each dot represents one member's assumption. You can see that we're clearly in a cutting cycle. And whether you like Trump and his policies or don't, this isn't going to change where rates are going, in my opinion. As for January getting a rate cut, that's basically off the table. And risk on lately has been selling off a bit because of the potential of less rate cuts. The Fed last month projected only 2 quarter-point cuts, compared to the 4 that it had forecasted in September, only a few months prior. In the end, the market is going to be closely watching CPI and PPI next week. If these come in higher, the likelihood of rate cuts is further diminished. If these come in low, I do think the market will rally in anticipation of more than 2 cuts in 2025. Now, we do have some positive Bitcoin news. Senator Devers introduces the Bitcoin Freedom Act to propel Oklahoma's economy forwards. And this bill would allow Oklahoma employees to choose Bitcoin for their payments, enable businesses to accept Bitcoin transactions. Devers believes that this legislation will position Oklahomans, if that's what you call them, I think so, hopefully, as a leader in financial technology and provide citizens with more economic options. SB 325 will be considered in the upcoming legislative session. And we have a CFTC share highlighting crypto risks. This guy's on his way out, sounding the alarm on crypto risks, stressing the urgent need for comprehensive regulation, federal oversight of crypto commodities. Notice how the CFTC calls them commodities and the SEC tries to call them securities. He highlighted ongoing efforts to strengthen the CFTC and SEC security over digital assets. Gary also gave a kind of departing letter or statement, basically still saying that crypto is a wild west. But Gary, too, is on his way out. No more lizard man. We also have some positive news here. Judge halts the SEC lawsuit against Coinbase. A federal judge paused the SEC's lawsuit against Coinbase, allowing the case to be appealed due to inconsistent court rulings on the legality of crypto. This decision is a significant setback for the SEC. The crypto industry has celebrated it as a major victory, seeking greater legal clarity. The outcome could influence numerous other crypto-related cases and lead to the dismissal of many of the SEC's claims against Coinbase. Now let's talk about James Howell, the guy that lost a ton of Bitcoin in a landfill. He lost a legal battle to recover his hard drive holding nearly 8,000 Bitcoin worth $750 million today. And like I said, he will see this being worth $1 billion, and this will make him enraged, in my opinion. But what's the difference? You know, 750 million you can't get to, $1 billion you can't get to. It makes no difference if you can't touch it. It's just that much more irritating for him, I guess you could say. But basically, the council that controls this landfill, they told him no, this is an environmental hazard. They value their commitment to protecting the environment more than their responsibility that they don't have to help him recover his lost fortune. And this legal battle came to an end when Judge Casey dismissed the petition, citing that it has no realistic prospect for success at trial. He lost it, it's gone for good, he's never getting it back. Instead of wasting his time and energy trying to get it back, maybe he should just focus on buying some more Bitcoin, starting over. It definitely sucks, but what are you going to do? Here's what he's going to do. He's going to tokenize the lost Bitcoin. He's not ready to give up yet. He has an innovative counter strategy. This is his last resort to recover his lost fortune, to create a new crypto that's tied to the lost Bitcoin value. It's a crypto based on crypto that he lost. I don't know how that works, but that'll be interesting. You could call it like dump coin or something, or landfill coin. If you guys have any good names, let me know down below. Now, Bitcoin's still looking like it's in a downtrend according to the Heikin-Ashi candles. Typically, when you get a candle change and you get like a type of doji candle, like a candle like this, then you get a candle with no bottom wick, that is usually the beginning of an uptrend. Like here, you could kind of say right here, right here, right here again. You want to look for a candle with wicks, and then a flat bottom candle, no wick on the bottom. Usually a good reversal. Same could be said about the opposite. If you see a red candle come in with the wick and then you get that next candle with no wick on the top, that is usually an indication of the downside. Like this, like this, like this. Here again. Here's another one going up. So keep an eye on the Heikin-Ashi candles. They can be a good indicator of trend. Today we're looking at an okay day for Bitcoin. A lot of altcoins are popping today. You know, Bitcoin needs to hold this level for one, this roughly 92.5. If we get a close under that, that would probably become a resistance. And we also need to hold up our roughly 91,000 area, 91, 91.5 that we wick down to and then quickly get bought back up. But you know, if we get a candle to close under this, that would be a negative. We could definitely see some more selling pressure as we approach inauguration. We have the upcoming Fed meeting. There's going to be worry and fear coming up for that. We also have PPI and CPI. If those show inflation coming down, we are going to rally by then. But if they tick up higher, we'll probably continue to sell off. I personally believe the next time we claim the 50 MA, we are blasting off. There's a lot of uncertainty right now in terms of rate cuts. There's a lot of fear in terms of the DOJ selling a sizable amount of Bitcoin. But remember, the market is pricing that in right now. The market is always forwards looking, similar to Mt. Gox, where we basically bottomed out. Let's see. The Mt. Gox stuff was going on, and we bottomed out in August at 49K. And I believe this was on announcement of one more sell coming. You know, be patient, trust the cycle. All right, guys, I want to pull up this. This is very telling. Check this out. Here are 30. Track these yourselves if you want. This is 30 indicators right here telling us that we aren't at the top yet. We have the Bitcoin AHR 999 index. I don't think I've heard of that. Pi cycle top. And here's an X if it has hit its indicator or not. We are 100% hold. Not a single indicator is flashing according to this. Every dip is an opportunity in preparation for a massive rally that's coming. Out of a possible 30 market peak indicators, including the Puel multiple, something we watch, the RSI 22-day, Bitcoin dominance, MVRV, another thing we watch, none of the signals have been hit in the current cycle. Keep an eye on these indicators, guys. The more that start flashing that we have topped out, the more likely it is, obviously. We are not going to top out without some of these indicators flashing, in my opinion. And we have an exciting 2025 ahead. And Alex Kruger, a crypto analyst, says, people are way too bearish now. He explains that while easy mode is over going forwards, the liquidity injection that will be taking place on behalf of traditional finance in 2025 is yet to be accounted for. Now, I'll leave this article down below for you just to give some continuation to the liquidity thing I just said. Veteran Wall Street investor Raoul Pal expects global M2 to expand once again. Paul counters this fear that was talked about because of a potential drop to 70,000. According to some, it hasn't retraced enough to really follow M2 lately. You can see here. Raoul Paul says that Bitcoin showing an exactly similar move to that in 2016. It's all going to be just fine. Maybe a bit lower, or maybe it's done already. Either way, higher over time. Don't expect an exact repeat, but a rhyme. Valhalla waits. Don't F this up. In the end, Bitcoin tracks global M2, and global M2 is set to increase. How are you guys feeling? Hopefully you have a good weekend. Hopefully this day ends strong. I know I didn't mention the Bitcoin miners, but lately Sphere 3D has been popping while others have been pulling back. In my opinion, it's the highest risk, highest reward miner. It is very high risk, let me reiterate that. But lately the market has been trying to hold it over $1. Someone's trying to keep it up lately. It is definitely showing some strong relative strength to the others. And I think this is a good timeline, you know, in terms of alt season. I think the riskiest of the risky Bitcoin miners will run when the speculation hits its peak, and alts along with it, obviously. I think Sphere 3D is the altcoin of the Bitcoin miners, if you could say that. But anyways, this is going to be fun to edit. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and have a good weekend.